Nerd News Network time.
Yes, the latest news.
There is a plethora.
Yeah, widespread.
Yeah, just so many different things.
Mm.
First and foremost, WWE superstar Seth Rollins was captured in Captain America: New World Order set photos.
Mm.
So he's been cast in a role. His suit looked very greeny, which gives me kind of Hydra-y, evil-y vibes.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest. The Rock, despite there being many other decent WWE superstars turned actors, has left a bad taste in my mouth. But I'm willing to give Seth Rollins a chance, just in case he can turn into a Batista or a John Cena for us.
I was going to say, Batista is the best of what we could get.
Batista recently has been getting a lot of plaudits from people who are not more knowledgeable on the skill of acting than me. And they all say he's a very good and very professional and should be given more respect. And their opinion means enough that I'm willing to say, yeah, he's probably the best.
Well, yeah, there's more stories now about him as like how he is as an actor.
Yeah.
As time's gone on. I will say, as someone who has never really followed WWE, I have no fucking clue who Seth Rollins is.
He is one of the newer generation superstars.
Okay. Doesn't surprise me that now we've
I didn't realize he was branching out into acting.
Well, here's the thing, right? I was just gonna say, like, we've had a few WWE stars now kind of branch into the world of acting, and some have had more success than others, but it's becoming a more not unusual thing to see. And I think depending on the role, it can work.
So what you had WWE set up their own studios. And basically what they did was people came to them with film ideas and a superstar they thought would be good in that film. And then superstars who wanted to maybe have an acting career after the success of The Rock, who did it all by himself. WWE went, okay, we're going to facilitate a little bit here and take our 20%.
Yeah.
And it's now kind of moved even further away from just they have their own in-house films that they do to they're managing to push them into these bigger roles. Like I said, like my brother's big into WWE. I don't remember him mentioning to me that Seth Rollins had been doing other acting projects, so maybe this is his first really big go at anything.
Possibly.
But it'll be interesting. I mean, if he's like a henchman with a bit more chatty lines or a secondary villain, he can probably do just fine.
Yeah,
it'll be interesting to see.
I think in a film like Captain America, like it doesn't surprise me having a big like top tier henchman who's doing a bit more.
Yeah, and maybe it means the action sequences are going to be a bit more physical.
True.
On to another wrestler turned actor. The Rock.
Connor's favorite person.
That man tanked Black Adam so hard, he's gone back and begged for his role back in the Fast and Furious franchise, even swallowing his massive fucking ego and agreeing to work with Vin Diesel again.
Has he asked to go back in?
Based on the reports, yes.
Okay.
I don't know if this has been like turned into a bigger thing by people of the internet finding hilarious after all the shit talking him and Vin Diesel did that he's back in. Or
possibly.
what? But a lot of there was a running joke. I don't know how much of it is true that my man tanked Black Adam so hard he's had to go and beg for his job back.
So when I first heard that, I was like, knowing that this is as far off as it is, still, this is them on the final strip for like the finish line is somewhat in sight. I thought, well, I wonder if they have a very kind of the story idea, and they would have been like, oh, it'd be nice to have The Rock return for the end of it all, and they've approached him and they've managed to come to some agreement.
Either that, or they've written the story so that Vin Diesel's character and The Rock's character never interact.
Well, yeah, this is the other thing. It's
so
like
they just never have to be on set.
The Rock re-entering could literally just be he shows up at the end and it's not in a scene with Vin. Like it's just a or like somewhat one of the other actors has to go to him for help. It it doesn't surprise me that there's some like agreement has been come to because they know for the fact of like closing it out, it would be good to have his character return to close out. I get it.
Yeah,
But I mean, as we said, the finish line might be in sight, but it's still going on to the next point. 3 films away.
2 films away,
Well,
if we're to be believed. So originally, Fast X was going to be a
uh-huh.
2-parter,
Yep.
and everyone was like, "Just fucking end it. It's the 10th film. Enough is enough." But they're like, "No, it's going to be a 2-parter to finish the franchise for good." And then on the red carpet for this event, Vin Diesel seems to have confirmed that actually the studio have asked them to make it a 3-part ending. So there'll be 2 more films in the Fast X arc to end the franchise. It's not going to end the fucking franchise at all.
So here's because I know other than the news stuff, you don't often pay attention. I think it was 2 films ago, there was a question as to like, oh, how many of these are you making? And apparently, we had said Vin Diesel said 10 because he'd made a promise to Paul Walker that they were going to make 10 of these films. That was the promise and the vision for it. And to stick to that after Paul Walker died, was he planned to stick to that promise and they were going to make 10. And I'm like, okay, I can understand wanting to do that. Sure. You're stretching them out, but okay, I'm okay. Like, fine. Do your 10. I feel like a few years back, there was like a weird rumor that, like, we're going to get 12 Fast and Furious. And everyone's like, no, no. And then it came out like, oh, no, he's just stopping at 10. For whatever reason, they then were like, oh, let's make a 2-parter. And they've obviously gone to the studio, and the studio's like, the first draft cut and gone, could you make this 3 so we end on 12 rather than like 11? And it's like, yeah, sure, you want more money? Okay. However well it does. But
Yeah, it's craziness.
I I'm of the similar opinion, like, should have got to 10 and ended it.
They
Do you know
should have
what?
stopped at 5.
They should have stopped at 5. It was they it, there's so many things they should have done. It's long gone that like they should never have gone into space, but we accept that now.
They should have stopped when characters started catching cars and stomping, causing earthquakes, and hiring actors who have clauses about how many punches they're allowed to take written into their contract. I'm sick of it.
The yeah. Do you know what? This is like on our news thing, and it was a thing I saw on TikTok that kind of has come to light with the titling of Fast and Furious X.
Mm-hmm.
None of the films, considering they are a series of films, not a single film has the same way of titling itself as the others.
Yeah, no, they just do it.
Every single one is, it's like, who the fuck is coming up with these? Like,
Because
someone actually went through them and it's like, they're so different. Like, so
you had The
different.
Fast and the Furious, Too Fast, Too Furious, Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift.
Yeah.
And
Then
that
it
was
was,
just do the first 3 when it was still decent.
it gets worse though. Because then you had just Fast and Furious, no the anymore.
Yeah.
Then it was Fast 5,
Mm-hmm.
like Furious has gone out the window. Um, then it's back to Fast and Furious, but it's Fast and Furious 6. Then it's Furious 7, no more Fast anymore.
Then
Then
it
it
was
was
Fate of
then
the
it was
Furious.
Fate of the Furious, and everyone's like, oh, this is the finale. No. Like, then the next one is just F9. Just F9. And now we're on Fast X. Now we're doing Roman numerals. So
It's an absolute mess of crap.
they should have stopped on 4, maybe stretched to 5 when they did the bank robbery and got all the money.
Yep.
But there.
So, next bit of news doesn't seem that exciting. But there is a deeper concern behind it.
Oh,
that I don't think you will have considered, but I'm going to blow your mind with.
oh, I'm ready.
So, all 8 Harry Potter films I've written coming down here, but they've arrived on Netflix in the UK and Ireland.
Okay.
Ooh. Would you like to know the gaping problem with this?
Well,
That means that Max is not going to be available in the UK for a long time because there is no way that Warner Brothers and HBO Max, etc., who own the rights to the 8 Harry Potter films, are going to sign a deal for probably at least 2, if not 3 years with Netflix if they're going to be launching their service in the next 2 to 3 years.
mm,
Because that would be a big selling point to the UK audience, as we know from how big a deal Netflix have made out of it. Unless they've literally signed them on a very strict 1-year deal,
maybe.
I don't think it's a good sign.
See, yeah, you make a. I did think this, like, it's a bit of a weird thing to go to Netflix with it. One thought I had in my head is like, oh, they don't want them on Max because they're going to be doing the new Harry Potter series, and it's like they didn't want to compete. Like, but then it's weird,
Not
like,
going
why
to
you
compete
wouldn't.
though, is it?
No, and it's like, I think unfortunately you're right, which sucks for us because we're gonna have to find ways to watch those shows, whether it's through if Now TV keeps doing like
Yeah,
stuff with them
I
or
mean, we've discussed the problems with
HBO.
the way HBO Max is operating inside the UK, and you've got to hope that the show you want to watch has got a partnership deal with someone. Yes, Now TV
Mm.
get a lot of the deals, but some
Don't
of them
know.
are just random deals or don't get a deal at all, and you're there like, well, what am I supposed to do now?
Do you know
If
what?
only there was a flag that was all black with a skull and crossbones that could give us some indication as to what to do if companies
Mm.
are going to make it so difficult to watch their content.
So you know how last week I mentioned we need a streaming platform that does
Yep.
packages. Can they hurry up and bring that out?
Is it going to be us? Or are we going to be the ones to do it?
We're gonna go sit down at the table with all these streaming companies and be like,
Yeah. Just start kicking their front doors in and going, we are going to make you money as long as you stop being dickheads.
yeah, we have it as a checkbox system, so you pick all the streaming services you want to pay for, and you get it as a discounted price, all in one app. Job's
Exactly. Talking of streaming services,
done. Yes,
we've got some dates for stuff on Disney Plus. So we said last week that Loki's coming in October. We now have a hard date for when that starts.
we do.
Loki season 2 is kicking off October 6th of this year. Whoop whoop whoop. I cannot wait. So we've got that coming to close out the year. Probably going to be 6 to 10 episodes again, which is probably going to take us basically to the end of the year. Or will it? Because Echo, which we thought, oh, well, they're both supposed to be coming out this summer, so Echo's probably not coming out till 2024. Wrong. All episodes dropping Netflix binge watch style, coming out November 29th. That is a Wednesday, Hori. So either mean you were not sleeping that night, or we're going to discuss it a week late. We will see how many episodes it is.
Or we do it in 2 chunks.
Yeah, we might have to do that.
So
but it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, and I'm like, because we obviously, like you said last week, we got the rough date for Loki, and we're like, okay, it's end of summer, which means Echo's not coming out till probably next year. Then they say Echo's dropping all episodes. Now, I'm wondering if this is Disney. We don't like Disney generally doesn't do all episode drops. Generally,
No, they don't. They haven't at all before now.
The only thing they've done it with is Visions, Star Wars Visions.
Yes, and Tales of the Jedi.
Yes, which are all like
two shorts.
Yeah,
groups
short
of
series.
shorts.
So
And there's no reason to think Echo's going to be
no,
15-minute episodes.
So I'm wondering if this is them, like they tested with the Werewolf at Night with a new style thing. This is them seeing if this is a better way to release their shows. so that they're received better.
Yeah.
Um,
Another interesting thing I've just realised.
oh,
New content day changed to a Wednesday for Marvel content. The first episode of Loki comes out on a Friday.
they're not doing like a Friday and then back to Wednesday the following week. They've done that before.
I don't know. Maybe we get 2 episodes on that Friday, and then the following episodes on the Wednesday. I don't know. They might do all Fridays. If they do all Fridays, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 Fridays
Mm.
before Echo's due to come out, so it could be 8 episodes. If we say it's a double release on the first day, maybe 9 episodes, which is not uncommon for Disney Plus Marvel shows.
So they're going to go from Loki straight into dumping Echo
Yeah,
on us.
yeah. We're gonna
Do you
finish
know?
the Loki the week before Echo comes out,
I
and
I
then we're gonna get.
wonder if this is also a scheduling struggle, as in they knew Echo's going to be done production wise and ready to go, and it's like the things have got shifted around. It's like, well, where do we fit this in now? And they still kind of like, well, we would like to release it this year, and then someone's turning around going, well, why don't you just drop it as all the episodes and trial that? And they're gone, why don't we?
Would you like my theory that if it's true, will make everyone very happy?
What's that?
Echo is a Daredevil character.
Mm-hmm.
The Daredevil show was on Netflix. This is a Netflix style drop.
Ooh, you think they're gonna do Daredevil as a Netflix style drop?
I don't think they are, because it's 24 episodes and that'd be madness from them. But maybe they're just letting people know we know the roots. Don't worry about it.
They could.
Or maybe if Echo's only 6 episodes, they're going, okay, for 6 episodes we'll just drop it all in one go, and then or maybe they're going to use it somewhere to differentiate. Anything that's weekly is very important for main stuff. You need to know it. Anything we drop all in one go, if you care, watch it. If you don't worry.
With Daredevil being 24 episodes, they could do a thing that Netflix has done with Stranger Things, where they dumped it in 2 chunks.
Maybe.
Who knows?
It's a really interesting one, because I understand what you're saying about them just trying different strategies to work out how people want their content. But to go from 9 weeks,
Yeah,
8
no.
weeks of weekly release after so long without like a Marvel show at that point, to then 8 weeks, boom. Whereas normally they like take 2 weeks off and then start the new show and then cover another month and a half. Especially with writer strikes and Blade delays and everything's been delayed a little bit. I thought they'd be going, oh, we've got a bit of time here. Why don't we fill up them weeks so that we stay in people's eye lines?
I genuinely think it's something like they didn't want to push Echo back to next year, and it's gonna be done, and they need it. They need it out for some reason. Though they don't want to push it back, because then it's going to cause a domino effect with other things. So they're like, well, screw it. We're just going to have to drop it here in one chunk.
Yeah, maybe.
I bet it. I wonder if it would have been weekly, but Loki getting pushed back out of the summer has messed that up.
Yeah.
Well,
maybe.
It's a lot of content for us.
Yeah, we were like, okay, cool. Film bubble coming up in the next couple of weeks here. Then we've got Star Wars stuff to get us through late summer, early year, and then we're like, oh, there's not a lot coming in the back end of the year. We'll have to see what happens. And now all of a sudden, just 15 episodes on our forehead.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting. We'll see how it goes. Next up, yes, Yukio and Negasonic Teenage Warhead. I got it right that time. I could not spell it earlier and didn't write it down, but I remembered it.
Nice.
Will be returning in Deadpool 3. I don't think it's huge news. I think everyone would have just been actually a bit disappointed if they didn't at least make an appearance. But it's good to know that they definitely are making an appearance.
Do you know what that means, though? We get, like, we've seen her interaction with Deadpool and, like, the enjoyment that was the comedy that was there. We're going to add Wolverine into that mix. And he's just going to be like, fucking teenagers, and just grumpy old man.
It's going to be so good.
It's going to be great. Honestly, can't wait.
and the end of an era.
Yes, it will be.
Like the most obscure. It felt like it was never going to fit. I'm going to find out exactly when it started.
What?
So the last episode of The Flash, the
Oh,
CW Arrowverse show,
yes.
is next week.
Mhm.
Do you want to take a guess when this show started?
Oh, so it was, I would say when I was no, I was college, which, whew, I'm going to say like 10 years ago.
You're not far off. October 7th, 2014 was when the first episode came out. I remember this was when I was really starting to get into like the obsessively nerdy level of shit I'm into now with superhero stuff. I remember watching the first 2 seasons of Arrow
Mm,
and getting Barry Allen make that cameo, and then he goes back and he gets struck by lightning, and then you never hear anything about it again really in Arrow until like the crossovers start.
yeah.
And I'm like, oh, who was that random guy who got struck by lightning? And that's the first time I really vividly remember Googling something. And that was my introduction to now my favorite character of The Flash.
Yeah, I remember Green Arrow coming out, and I was hearing like, oh, I don't really know much about this Green Arrow. Obviously, it was like midst of like MCU films, so getting into all that, and it's like started watching Green Arrow, and there's always like, oh, Flash, cool. Let's also watch Flash. They didn't like the fatigue of the CW shows definitely hit, and like obviously I fell off from watching them,
The
but
quality dipped a little bit in the mid there.
yeah, and it's wild that it was like the second series to start, but it's the last to finish. Like it's been going a hot, like that's the sole survivor of the CW stuff, and it's like they've done a good job with it
Yeah.
overall.
Yeah, it's had its dips and stuff, but for the most part, it's been good. Peak Flash, season 2 and 3 of The Flash,
Hmm.
some of the best superhero television of all time.
Yeah, I would agree.
Um, that brings us on to